looks like everything connected the way that it should. So we should be live. So,
Wonderful.
hello and welcome to any and everyone who is watching this completely random live stream that Amanda and I decided to do. Wherever this day may have found you, I'm glad that you're here and that you are joining us. As kind of the title of this stream says, we are doing NaNoWriMo writing sprints. We're both doing NaNoWriMo. So if you're here, welcome. The chat is live. If you've never been on the channel before, if you do participate in the chat, you can see it on the screen if you want to participate. But yeah, we're here to write. We're here to be productive. How is your nano going, Amanda?
Oh, girl. Definitely, I would say struggle. I'm behind. I'm not even to 20K
Mm-hmm.
yet. But we persevere. We continue to just have faith, have the faith, have the positivity, and keep going. Um, I have mentioned to you before, I'm a huge plotter, and this novel is definitely wanting to be plantsed. So, like, a lot of it's written just off the dome. So let's see how it goes. How about you?
uh, I don't know. Like it's going. I had an idea, so I think I've mentioned this before. Like I'm a nano rebel because I am writing this, but it's not a brand new project technically, like it's supposed to be for
Mhm.
nano. So it's just me trying to like finish my book, and it's really good because I needed that consistency part, but also not necessarily. How do I put this? I've hit a slump, I'll say. And so I haven't been like necessarily hitting all of my word goals. Like when I do have one, I'm trying to like when I'm trying to hit the words, I'm hitting the words. But at the same time, I'm like skipping days because my brain is not good with consistency. And also, I'm trying to get like an outline together now because I realize that I've hit this middle part and I'm just like, I don't know what to do now. So I'm trying to get that done. I got that done this morning. So hopefully today during our sprints, I can actually get some words in. That's the plan anyway. We're gonna see how that
That's a
actually
good
works
plan.
out.
Yeah, I'm a rebel too here. I had already started this novel. Like I started writing it in April and start picked it up and put it down and picked it up, put it down in between publishing the second to Alaris and Desperation. And so yeah, it's definitely something I want to try to finish it so that I can get it to betas
And
by the new year.
same.
But
That's
let's
how
see
I'm
if that'll
feeling.
happen.
Because I'm like, I want to finish it and start getting actual like critical feedback to fix it by the new year so that I can start getting some things rolling. Because I have been in this weird place where, sorry, I'm trying to multitask because I realized that because this was kind of a random sprint, I didn't actually tell people we were doing we were doing it. So I'm trying to send a tweet out at the same time. But but no, like I've been kind of contemplating my writing journey because anyone who knows me, right, knows that it's been kind of an up and down journey for me with my own writing because I've been doing so much other stuff in between. So now that I'm
Mhm.
actually focusing on it, I'm just kind of like, ooh, I have goals. I have things that I want to do. So that means I got to be focused. I got to get things done. I got to have a timeline. And I'm just like, cool, cool, cool. January 2022, that's going to be it. This sweatshirt does not do anything for my posture. I look like a hunchback.
Oh yeah, I'm over here hunching too. Oh goodness. Yeah, that's a good goal. I think, I don't know how many other authors are in the same boat of wanting to get this out by January, but um it's definitely it's hard with this month moving somewhere like it's got somewhere to be. So,
Right? Like, sometimes I feel like I look up and I'm like, oh my God, how are we at, almost at the end of November? It's almost December. It's almost Christmas. How? When? When did we get here? Who decided this? Somebody lied to me because there's no way this is possible. That's how I be feeling.
man, this whole year has been just a fever dream. So, I think it's fitting that it should end quickly.
Not a fever dream. But that's the best way to explain it, honestly. Yeah. Yeah. But it is what it is, right? We're here. We're doing Nano. I'm proud of us for doing Nano, honestly, because I have said specifically on this channel, like, I don't do Nano because I have commitment issues. So I'm really proud of myself for even being like, I'm going to do it this year.
Right. Yeah. I feel you. Same. I'm a big proponent of not feeling the need to write every day, not feeling pressured to. If you do, that's great. If you can't, that's also great. So, for me to do Nano is a bit of a surprise, probably to myself and my fans. But I wanted to see if I could do it.
That part, I think a big part of it for me is just I wanted to know if I could actually do this. Like, could I actually, get 50,000 words in a month? The answer is no. I'm not gonna reach that. I could, but I'm realizing that while I could do it, right? I realized a lot. The first is I'm saying I realized, but it's been a month of realizations in all honesty, because the first one was I didn't think I could do Nano because I didn't think I could commit to it, right? And so
Hmm.
I surprised myself by doing that, and then I was like, well, I'm not going to win Nano because $50,000. $50,000. I wish I had $50,000. 50,000 words is a lot, you know,
Right.
and I was just like, that's in 30 days. That's that's more
Hmm.
than 1,000 words a day. I don't know if I can commit to that. So I was like, oh, Life with Casey is here. Hi, Casey. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Um, we're doing nano sprints, so we're actually just checking in. This is your third sprint stream of the day. That is amazing. Congratulations.
Wow.
The productivity. I'm honestly jealous. Um, but but no, I didn't think I could do Nano, but I'm doing it. And then I didn't think that I would get the 50,000 words, and I still don't think I'm going to get that. But I realized that for me, it's not the pace at which I'm writing. I just have to be really happy with what I'm writing. If I'm good with that, then I feel like I'm making progress. I don't feel
Right.
like I'm just what's the word? Like I'm just getting nowhere, right? Because I did that with my first draft of this story, where I was just trying to get the words out, and it just did not sit well with my brain, which is why I'm basically rewriting the whole thing from scratch now.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel it. I think for me, it's just I want to finish this. Like I said, I started and stopped this, and part of the stopping was for good reason. I had a lot of stuff to do with publishing my last book. Um, but what I don't want to happen is that I get so bogged down with the marketing and the YouTubing and all the other things that I'm doing to try to meet my future goal of being a full-time creative. I'm speaking into existence, an
Yes.
author, that I don't write, because that can happen, and then I'll look up and a week's passed and I haven't written, and I don't want to do that. So I that's why I want to try to finish this
I
as soon as
respect that,
possible.
because that's the part that I'm trying to get to. Like, I do this full time, but I want to get to a point where I'm making a sustainable amount of money from this, because the only reason I can do it full time right now is because I have someone else, my husband, supporting me, right? But I want to get to a point where it's like I got
Hmm.
my own change, you know? So
Hmm.
that's the thought. And I love life with Casey. She's like, I have nothing to do at work, so I might as well write. I respect that, honestly. So speaking of writing, that's actually what we're here to do. I have the sprint set up for 30 minutes because Amanda and I are in a Discord server, and that's what we normally do. I know on streams they're usually about 20, write for 20 minutes, talk for about 10. So if you want to do that, let us know, and I can adjust this accordingly. But if not, I think we might stick with the 30-minute sprints. How do you feel about it, Amanda?
Yeah, 30 minutes works for me.
All right. Casey, let us know how you feel about it. And if you want to do 20-minute sprints, we can do that. And I'm going to try to start really pretty soon. So, because I'm keeping a time on how long the stream is. And I'm like, okay, if I can keep us in check, we'll be good. We'll be on time. We won't talk too much. But, let's go with the 30-minute sprint. And then if we need to adjust from there, we can. Cool.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good.
so we just hit the 10-minute mark on the stream, so we're gonna go for our first sprint. And happy writing to everyone watching this now or in the future. And Amanda, I'll mute us, so you're good.
Right. Okay.
is it for that sprint.
Hello.
Hi. It's always fun when somebody comes back in your ear, right?
Let me see. How much did I get done?
Um, I got 240 words written, so not a whole lot.
This must have been. It's probably the coffee for me. 696.
Awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you almost broke 700. That's
I
amazing.
know. Thanks. Yeah. I'm happy because the way that I was trying to write the scene last night, it ended up throwing a bit of a tantrum to where my husband had to come in and turn the lights off on me. I was in the living room. He came in, turned the lights off, and was like, "Let's go. You're going to bed. You're done." Because I was like, for like 5 minutes straight.
I 100% understand that feeling. I think that's why I haven't been dealing with this scene for so long because I was just like, it's not, today is not the time. This is not the right time. And I was trying so hard to just like push through it, power through it, get through it. But now that I'm reading back over it, I'm just kind of like, this is where I went wrong. So I've been kind of like tweaking a little bit as I've been going along, and I'm just like, okay, I have an outline now. I just have to get through this one little scene. And I don't know if you've run
Hmm.
into this problem, but I have this thing where like sometimes I realize that I'm writing kind of like a conjunction scene. I don't like calling it filler because that feels like it needs to be cut. It's a conjunction scene, like it's between two major things that are happening, right?
Right.
And I'm just kind of like, I know it's that, and I need certain things to happen in it, but also like I just want to write the fun stuff, you know? So that's also where I'm at, like trying to stay focused and get it done.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes when I'm finding this process is those scenes have been harder to write
Mm-hmm.
because I do want to get to those bigger kind of milestone scenes because it feels like this is what I should be writing, but I can't write those scenes if I don't know what's happening in between those tentpole kind of scenes or whatever. I'm kind of there. I'm writing like a magical training kind of montagey scene.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, but I can't finish like the other parts if I don't establish what magical training happens in the scene for her to use that lesson when she needs it.
It's so fun when people are like, if I need to write something and I don't want to write it right then, I just be like, I write an X and I write come back to it or something like that. And I'm like, okay, but what happens when you have to come back to it? You still have to write it. And
Yeah, I usually write notes. I'll write like kind of a rough idea of what's supposed to happen there,
mhm.
but that way I don't come back and I'm
So yeah.
like that furry gift that's like
Well, I need to take a page from your notebook because that's like legit where I'm at. And I'm just kind of like, I have this character returning for the first time in the story. Like, not a new character. They're touched on briefly in an earlier chapter, but
Mhm.
this is the part where they actually enter the story. And I'm just kind of like, it's not how the other characters entered, right? So I'm just kind of like, how is this going to work? What is the conversation, the vibe going to be like? And it's just interesting. I'm trying to figure out a lot. And like I said, I was plotting today, and I realized that the characters are a lot, not a lot different, but they are different from what I first wrote them out to be. Like they're taking on their own personalities, and I'm just kind of like,
Mhm.
yo, you're breaking the idea. I'm gonna need you to not, right? And it doesn't work that way. So now I'm like, okay, cool. This is how you function. Let me figure out how to like make that make sense. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, if you're watching this, feel free to let us know how you are doing in the chat. Would love to know. Like I said, we're making it. We're working through these tough scenes. But I think if you're okay with it, I'm going to adjust this to 20 minutes instead of 30 minutes. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me figure out. Okay, here we go. Can you tell I don't use a timer on my computer very often? But I don't know if she's still here, but Casey said that she was just working on research today. So I respect that. Let us know how that is going. If you're finding anything useful, if not, and if you are just popping in for like a couple of minutes to see what we're up to. Hey, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day. And yeah, let us know how you're doing. But that being said, I know Amanda and I are kind of like focused when it comes to writing. So since it's just the two of us, if the chat is quiet, then if you're good, we can just go ahead and hop into another sprint.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, 20 minutes on the clock, and good luck. Oh, I did want to ask you. I think I can pull up like some lo-fi. I think as long as I link to them in the description, it should be fine. So I can play some lo-fi in the background if you want to do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I usually write to music. So
Same, same. That's why I asked. I was just like, let me be good. I've never done a writing sprint. I don't want to break the rules. As I'm over here trying to find something, do you have a preference? I usually pick whatever just pops up and it's live.
no. I mean, this book I've been writing to a lot of burlesque and Ella Fitzgerald, so anything is fine with me.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay. So how this is going to work, I'm going to need you to mute yourself on Discord, and then I'll play the chill hop through my computer. Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. Happy writing, you guys. right, that is it for that sprint.
Oh, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How many words did you get?
Um, this is actually quite simple math. 115, 115 words. So again, not a lot, but I finally figured out what I was doing yesterday, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. Like, oh, okay, this is what previous Chelsea wanted me to get to. Got it. So, what about you?
I'm trying to check. Okay, so that was 696. Okay, so uh 600 600.
Dope. And Aphrodite Lee, she joined us. Hey, Aphrodite. I said hello in the chat, but
Hello.
welcome. And she got 542. So,
Nice.
that is amazing. Like, I'm so proud of you guys. I need to get on my game. I really do. I just wish my brain would let me function as a regular human being, but I accept it for what it is. And it's going to hate me now because I'm about to delete or move all these words that I currently have to the graveyard because they were going absolutely nowhere. Have you ever just gotten to a point where you're just like, I need to go. I'm just going to type. I'm just going to type and I will write my way out of this. And then you come back to it and you're like, this was going absolutely nowhere. So it's just going to have to go.
Yeah, that's what started to happen last night for me, and ended up deleting a lot of what I had written and um didn't even count it to my word count like a Nano.
Yeah.
Um yeah, no. I guess so today the words are flowing a little bit.
Yay. I'm glad.
So what's happening in the scene that you're working on?
Basically, like I said, it's kind of just like a conjunction scene. So I'm at this point where, okay, so I'm gonna say this. I don't really get how people break down stories into acts. Like, I know that there is a specific method to the madness. I just have not spent time committing it to memory. Um, that
Hmm.
being said, I'm at the point where, uh, they've kind of had like little problems up until now, but they just figured out like, oh, there's a much larger problem that we have to deal with. And there is a cast of characters that I knew from the beginning were going to have to all come together, but for different reasons, they had to come in at different times. And now the last or the second to last of the main cast has just arrived, but he has a prior relationship with the main character, and
Hmm.
so he is kind of ticked off that he was not included from the beginning. And there's just like this energy of like, I'm going to help you because they have like a sibling relationship. Like, they're not related by blood, but they have a very close sibling like relationship. So he's like, I'm going to help you, but also you're an asshole. Why did you leave me? That's really messed up, man. So I'm just trying to get his energy because he's a very easygoing type person, right? But also he's kind of pissed off. So I'm trying to figure out what that looks like for him and how it looks like with her because they also have a different relationship for reasons that I don't want to spoil. And for anyone watching this,
Gotcha.
my story is called "We Are the Origin." That's what I'm working on. So yeah.
So good. It is so good. I cannot wait until you're done with it because I loved it. I'm
Yay.
gonna go back in and like alpha read for you some more, but yeah, it was I really like it.
I appreciate it. That makes me feel good because this is like my first fantasy, and I'm just like, am I doing it right? I don't know. Hopefully, this makes sense. It makes sense in my head. So, but yeah. And Aphrodite is in the chat, so she was saying that usually, but I have deleted stuff that I felt weren't needed to move the tale forward. I do that all the time. Like, literally, I will write something. I do. I talked about this on my TikTok, but if you're not following me on TikTok, you should because I'm amazing. Yeah. But in all seriousness, I like to do rewrites as I am writing. I just don't like to get to the end and have to rewrite my whole story. It's just, it breaks my heart, my brain, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it no more. So a lot of my writing process is literally I have a chapter and then I go back and reread it and then I rewrite it again to make it better and then I wait a day or two and then I come back and if I still don't like it, I just go ahead and rewrite it in that moment. until I'm happy with it before moving on, because knowing me, I'm never going to be like, I'm not happy with it now, but I'll figure it out later, because I the things that I figure out later won't make sense, because once it's written and I'm moving on from it, it's not concrete in that it can't change, but it's semi-permanent. And like the meat of this, like if it's a sandwich, I'm not taking the mayonnaise and the mustard and stuff off the sandwich. Okay, that just means I have to get new bread. I have to get a whole new sandwich, but I might switch out like the ham for some turkey. You know,
Right.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense, that's how I treat my story.
No, no, no. I get it. That makes sense. Oh, now you got me hungry.
And I say that making myself hungry, knowing I don't eat meat anymore. So now I really just want a turkey sandwich, and I did that to myself. It's my fault. It's my fault. Yeah. And then she said that she breaks her outline into acts, and that's how she pulled it off. Otherwise, she would be lost. You know, I respect that, really, because I've been trying to do an outline today. Yeah, I mean, it got done, but I don't know what acts were which, to be honest. If you guys want to explain that to me, I'm open to it. I just.
Well, I think I have a TikTok video about it, but I'll probably end up doing a YouTube video on my channel. But a brief, like, so I do it in 3 acts, and I have different subsections of that act. So I have Act 1 is the setup, and that's all the shit in the front. Sorry for cussing, but all the stuff in the front
You're
where
good.
you're
We're grown folks.
introducing the characters, we're establishing their life. Then you have the catalyst moment where that's the thing that really kicks all the action of the story off. Um, then you move on to Act 2, where have kind of the leap of faith. So if this is like a hero's journey story or a call to adventure, this is where the person assembles their crew and kind of really decides, am I doing this or not? So like if we're referencing Lord of the Rings, which is kind of, or not the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. Let me reference The Hobbit right quick, because this is kind of a good one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a moment where Bilbo meets the dwarfs and Gandalf, and they invade his home and eat all his food, and he has to decide if he wants to go on this adventure. And then he, at the end of the leap of faith section, decides to go on the adventure and, runs to meet up with a party. And the premise is kind of the middle of Act 2, so it's kind of the middle of the book, which is the meat and potatoes of what it's about, right? Like, they're going to the mountain. They're going to, get rid of smog. They're going to do whatever it is they're going to do. And then I have, let me pull up my outline here, because let me not lead you astray. Um, then after the premise, um, it is Act 2B. So I break Act 2 into 2 sections.
Okay.
Act 2B is like a things fall apart section. So that's the moment, in works where all the characters are fighting. They're trying to get a win and they fail, and it looks like the band is gonna break up, basically. And you have the false defeat shortly after that, which is that moment where they're fighting and they go to, because they're fighting and there's this discord amongst the group, they go to like launch an offensive, if you will, and then they fail.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Act 3 I have false solution. So it's like, oh, we're gonna get back together, everything is gonna be great, and then it's not. Then we have the showdown, which is that kind of penultimate scene,
Mm-hmm.
and then the resolution at the end.
Gotcha.
It's very long-winded, but that's what's helped me with
And
my books.
it's just kind of like in my mind, um, I think about it that way. I just didn't know that those were how the acts were broken down. So as you were
Mm.
going through it, I was like, "Yep, got that. Yep, got that. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's where we're at." So I'm at
Mm-hmm.
the end of Act 1, beginning of Act 2. I want to say, where it's just kind of like, we've got, as you said, the call to action. Like, this is the big problem that we need to figure out in the book. And at this point, we've got most of the band together. Like, there's someone who is introduced later, but in my mind, he's like additional cast, not core cast, if that
Right.
makes sense. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where we're at, and that's why I'm kind of struggling with this scene because, like I said, I'm trying to get from the end of Act One into Act Two. I hope I said
Right.
that right. I don't think I heard it right in my
Yeah.
brain, but I hope it came out right.
No, no, it did. Yeah, so I think it's those scenes that are kind of between acts that or those transition scenes that are really hard. Um, I'm in kind of the meat and potatoes section. I'm in the premise section of my book, which is, the part where my main character, she's a necromancer, she's trying to solve this murder, and also learn she can't really control her powers, so she kind of has to have like a training to learn how to control her powers to solve this murder.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in that section, and the next section I'm going to write is a scene at a 90s theme, like a dance club that's having a 90s night,
Mm-hmm.
because we've hit that age now, right? Where it's no longer 80s night now, it's 90s night.
Yo, honestly, we're at the age where it's 2000s night, and that trips me out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I went with 90s night because I wanted to incorporate songs by LaBouche and Crystal Waters, so
fair.
selfish.
It's your book. Be selfish.
um, yeah.
But yeah, I'm like I said, I'm trying to get past this point. My goal for today, my actual nano goal is 3,883 words, and with the words I just deleted, that got me back down to 67. So I've got a ways to go, but now I have like completely clear writing, so I can actually focus on the next sprint of getting, um, whatchamacallit, actually getting stuff written, not just going back and editing. So I'm excited for that. And Aphrodite Lee, she's in she's in the chat, and she said that she doesn't rewrite until she finishes the first draft. But she does many edits of the previous day's writing, but you don't go deep. That makes sense. And I kind of do that. Like, I just kind of clean it up as I go. And then I honestly, I have a built-in alpha reader because I send it to Ben, and he reads it. And if it's really bad, he'll tell me. It's like, okay, no, you can't do this. Like, this, you just need to go in a different direction because this was not good, right?
Right.
He's not afraid to hurt my feelings, which I appreciate. And then I'll fix it, right? But then, but for the most part, we don't. He doesn't have to do that. I've gotten to the point now where I'm be like, he's like, okay, this is good, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
little rewrite so that it's like this sentence makes sense. Making sure things are consistent. Like in the last chapter that I wrote, I was describing meeting one of the gods for the first time, and I was like, what does he look like? I don't know. So I had to I had to do some research
Yeah.
and get that figured out. So little stuff like that, you know, I do as I go along. But and she was like, because she's doing the mini edits, it's not a Herculean task when it comes to the actual rewrites, which I appreciate because legitimately, I am not that person. I am not going to go back to the beginning. If you beta read for me, alpha read for me, and you're like, okay, so in chapter 2, I think this should go in a completely different direction. Okay, no, I cannot. My brain cannot handle that.
That's what the alpha's for. Yeah. I uh I rewrite, I save all the rewrites to the end, but I do, and that's also because there are times where I'll skip over a section, or I will half finish a section and write that note for myself to come back. And so as I'm doing rewrites, or before I do the whole rewrite, I go back, I fill that section in, and then I rewrite the whole thing. I might try to incorporate some of what you're doing and rewrite as I go with this book,
Mm-hmm.
because of my experience rewriting Alaris, which was hellish. I I didn't want to give up, but I was so like, I hate what I'm doing. Is this going to be good? Especially that last scene with the potions and everything, like
Mm-hmm.
finessing that scene out was trauma.
It was traumatic
And
from
I
the
think it
beginning.
turned out good, but
Just so you know, it was good, but also traumatic. Just so you know.
right.
Slight plug: if you have not picked up Amanda's Witchkind series, you should 100% do that. There are two books currently: To Astera with Love and To Alaris in Desperation, and I can vouch that they're both really good. I already own one copy of each, but I'm probably gonna buy the physical copy of To Alaris because the cover is absolutely beautiful.
The
If
covers are everything.
So if you want to hear me talk about it, I did actually do a review of her book on TikTok, so you can check that out whenever you feel like it. Just so you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Aphrodite Lee. Alphas are the bomb. They are essential, and like the way I write, they are essential to me. And if someone, yeah, right, if someone tells me like in chapter 2, this needs to go a whole different direction, yeah, you need to write your own book, baby doll, because it's no, that's not gonna happen.
And well, because I feel like if it's a good alpha, they will read the whole thing, like everything presented to them before they say this should go in. Because then I'll be like, well, why are you telling me this needs to go in a different direction?
Exactly. So it's just like if it doesn't make sense, that's one thing. If it doesn't track, that's another thing. If it's a plot hole, that's another thing. But a personal opinion of you think this character should do that, well, great. You write your own character. I'm not stopping you.
Yeah. If it's a plot hole, that is me on the floor for days. Just that scene from Lilo and Stitch where she's just laying on the floor and turns her record on? That will be me if I discover a plot hole. Like, I'm done.
Lilo is a whole mood, and Carol's here. Hi. I know you can only pop in, but how you doing? Glad to see you. Glad you could make it. Thank you for liking the stream. I appreciate that so much. Okay. Um, But that being said, you guys, if you're down for it, we can go ahead and hop into another sprint. Otherwise, we will continue talking. And like I said, I literally just got to a point where I have nothing but blank page ahead of me. So I've got like 4,000 words to write. So, you know.
You're unstoppable. A blank page is endless possibilities. Do you like how I'm trying to be positive now?
That's so positive! Endless possibilities. Endless work is how I saw it. But yeah, I like the way you put it. I like the way you put it. And I thought I was the only one who did that. I'm gonna say this, and then we are gonna jump into the next sprint. Um, I asked the same thing. Like whenever Ben is reading, or anybody who reads the story who doesn't have like the next chapters or whatever, I always ask, "What do you think is going to happen next?" That way, I can make sure that whatever I have planned kind of falls in line with what they think logically should happen, and then I also keep note of the things that like, oh, that actually would be a good plot twist, because Ben loves to
Oh
give me
yeah.
good plot twists. Just so you guys know, whenever you see CM Lockhart on a cover, please know that there is also a BT Lockhart behind it who is helping me write the book. Okay, because he'll say some stuff and I'll be like, oh, that would actually be really good. I'm not gonna tell him that this was his idea, but yeah, might have to sneak that in a little later. But yeah, um, that being said, Carol said I came to give my favorites love. Now I go back to work. Much love. Okay, she's gone, but thank you, Carol. You're appreciated if you're watching this in the future. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, another 20-minute sprint, you guys. Let's just hop into this. Before we do, if can you guys let me know in the chat, Aphrodite, if you want me to keep the chill hop going? I don't know, Amanda, if you could hear it from your end or not. Um, but if you guys want to, we can do that. I don't know if I'm breaking any of the RULES on YouTube, but I don't think I am. I saw somebody else do this in their stream, and all they did was give credit in the description and stuff. So hopefully that's good. But yeah, let me know, because if not, I'll just play it in the background. That way the video doesn't get taken down in the future if I am breaking any RULES. Don't want to trigger any algorithm demons. But oh yeah, I love when they miss the clues too. It's just like they were there. I told you this was gonna happen. So, all right. I think I'm gonna leave the chill hop off this time. Yeah, yeah. So if you guys weren't listening, there's no point risking it. So, gonna leave it off, and let's just jump into this. So happy writing, you guys. that is it for that sprint.
Totally scared me. I jumped a little.
That's the beauty of sprinting in silence.
Right.
Okay, so how did you do?
I am not quite sure what I wrote during the sprint and what I wrote during the last one. I, uh, mm, let me see, where was I? Oh, here we are.
I've been having to write it down because I was like, I ain't gonna remember.
Oh, okay, I think I got it. All right. Word count. 406 this time.
Awesome, awesome. I am
Um,
finally starting to catch up to you a little bit. I got 528. So
Nice.
I am feeling pretty good about it. I'm at a point where I think I mentioned this to you, but this isn't really secret for anyone who may or may not want to read my story in the future. Um, there is romance in my story, but there is not a main romance plot between the main character and her love interest because they're together. Like they've been together for years, and I'm not planning to have them break up or anything like that. Um, but I am writing a scene where they are kind of at odds with each other for reasons. So
Mm.
um, that's been kind of fun to write because I don't know. I feel like in a lot of stories you don't see like a healthy disagreement between people who are in a relationship, like a healthy relationship. Like people never tend to write that. Not that I can think of anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to do that, and plus there's other romance in the story later that'll be dramatic. So I was like, let me give something solid. Um, and Aphrodite Lee said that she watched tutorials, so no writing, and she thinks she needs a nap. That is both fair and valid. I feel that honestly. Um, what kind of
Nice.
tutorials did you watch? Just out of curiosity. Um, and YouTube sent me a weird notification, so I got distracted. Sorry. Um, but yeah, honestly, I think sleep will be good, but I am determined to reach my nano goals today. So whether that's on the stream or off, I'm definitely going to keep writing until I meet that. So
Yeah. Well, I wrote a scene, like I said, mental training. My necromancer character, Zora, is trying to raise the body, I guess, resurrect the body of her mentor's lover whose murder she was trying to solve, and it's going to go wrong. There's something that's going to be wrong about it, and because I'm only halfway through the story, so it can't be like
right,
she did everything right and roses and whatnot. Um,
and she's
it's
still
kind
learning
of
to control her
creepy
power,
because it's in
right?
the middle of a cemetery. Huh?
She's still learning to control her power, right?
Yeah, so like she's doing what she was able to do with freshly dead people
Mm-hmm.
is essentially touch them and then they raise because the soul is still kind of there, or the ghost or spirit, whatever we want to call it, but because it's been months, it's like she's already seen the spirit outside of the body, so she's like, this isn't gonna work.
Right.
And so her mentor's like, do this spell, and it's a whole ass resurrection, bring them back from the dead kind of, you know, thing.
Okay.
So it's not gonna work.
I love how you said it's not gonna work. Please have someone in there just being like, it's not gonna work. Like it's not. Okay.
Right.
I can't wait to read it. So, just so you guys know, like I said, Amanda and I know each other outside of all of this, but we've been alpha reading for each other, so I kind of know what's happening, and I'm just kind of like, I can't wait to read it. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. So, all that to say that you should definitely find some people to have in your corner, you guys, because it is life changing. honestly and truly. To have someone who
Mhm.
also writes, especially if you respect their writing, to be like, hey, this is good. I like this. At least that's how I felt. So I don't know how you feel because I'm not popular like you are. I ain't got books and anthologies and stuff out in the world, but yeah.
No, no, no. I feel the same. It is good when you have people who are also extremely well read in the genres that you're writing
Yes.
to be like this is good and there's a place for it because I think even if you want to write your own story, I think it's still in the back of your head there's a part of you that has to still kind of think about what the market will want and
Yeah.
whether it'll be able to get people interested. So that's always helpful. Just to have anybody in your corner be like, "You're good. Stop tripping."
Exactly. Like, this is good. Like, you're stressing out. Just chill. Just keep doing the thing that you're doing, and it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. And Aphrodite said that she's shooting a short film in January, and it calls for some sound effects stuff. So that's what the tutorials are on. And
Nice.
respect, because I have not been doing YouTube for that reason. I was like, they want too much from my life. It's they want you to look nice and have good lighting and like jump cuts and like transitions and intros and end cards, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm on TikTok because it doesn't want all that from me. It wants like 60 seconds of my time. That's it. That's it. And that speaks to my spirit right now, especially during Nano when it's just like I'm trying to focus and I cannot multitask to save a life. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna film after this, which is part of why my hair is done. But I'm doing a video on writing 5-man band
mm-hmm.
or like ensemble kind of cast. We'll see how it goes because I basically just sit and talk. This last video was the first one I added like um more pictures and quotes from people and slides and things like that. I eventually will get to where I'm like the highly paid girlies where it's like super transitions and zoom in and their face looks weird and
Mm-hmm.
they're adding like video clips, but today's not that day.
Today is not that day.
Not
And
there yet.
special effects, not sound effects. Sorry, I messed that up. But you got this, Amanda. My brain is everywhere, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I like your channel. If you guys are not subscribed to Amanda, you definitely should be. I put a link to her channel down in the description box, so you guys should definitely go check out her content because she talks about like amazing stuff, and then she does breakdowns of movies and stuff, and then she also has lit bitches once. I think that's what once a month, or is it like bi-weekly?
It is twice a month. We I think are postponing this month a little bit just because one of our members had like a family emergency, but we'll be back to our regular scheduled twice a month gig. Yeah, we talk about writing and things happening in the writing world and author self-care. We did a whole deep dive into the Bad Art Friend article a couple weeks ago, and that was hilarious. That was so fun.
Honestly, I kind of want to talk about it, but you guys know that the Melanin chat has been off for a while. So if you are watching this, the Melanin chat is coming back. It'll be back January 11th. That is the second Tuesday of January, and we'll be back at 4 p.m. our regularly scheduled time. And if you are subscribed to the Patreon, you will also get the after chat. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I if you like a good live stream, if you like black women talking about writing and being black in publishing, you should definitely check it out. Okay. Aphrodite Lee says she just subbed, so thank you. That's what we
Oh, thank
love.
you.
The support. Yes, for sure. Check it out. And Aphrodite Lee said this. It's not. She said that it's not for YouTube. I shoot a short film or two every year. YouTube is not black girl welcoming, so I just do what I want, and that is facts. Um, I was literally talking to Ben about this week, actually. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, I've been kind of just being like, a little vague, but just basically like I am really trying to figure some things out because I was like, I do a lot trying to have so many hats and so many rings because, diversify, you never know where your audience is going to be. But the thing is, you have to have time to do all of these things correctly, and there is a difference between being like an entrepreneur who has a team and an entrepreneur who's a solopreneur, and you have to do everything yourself. And I am a solopreneur, which means I have a limited amount of time to do everything. And I was like, I'm doing all of these things, but I'm not really doing all of them well. So let me like restructure, refigure out what I want to do and put my time into. And I thought about coming back to YouTube because I was like, I like doing content for TikTok. And I realized it's not that I don't like being in front of a camera, it's that I don't like all the production that goes into it. Like, I don't mind recording the content, I just don't want to edit it later. That just takes a lot of time. And me and my perfectionist mind and my perfectionist brain, it's just like, it's got to be this quality before I put it on YouTube. And that takes like, it takes like 20 minutes to record a video, but then it takes like 3 hours to edit it to my standards. And it's just like, I do not have 4 hours, every week, not counting the 20 to 30 minutes it takes me to actually record, to do this, right? On a consistent basis. But as we all know, algorithms like consistency. They like consistent content. They like people interacting with you. And part of the reason I've kind of just like latched onto TikTok is because, like, with the exception of the community here, right? It's just like a lot of times when I post, when I'm not doing a live stream and it's just a regular video, a lot of people don't watch it. They don't like the video. They don't comment. Like, lately, the shorter videos that I've been posting that I made for TikTok have been doing way better than like the whole like 10, 15, 20-minute videos that I was putting together before. So all that to say that I went on a tangent, but I'm just basically trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And YouTube is one of those things where I was like, the algorithm doesn't work for me, but I'm going to continue doing what I enjoy doing, which is the Melanin chat and author interviews. And I'm just going to leave it at that. If the algorithm works, great. If not, then the people who want to find me are just going to have to put some effort into finding me. Because the other thing that I realized is that YouTube will not send you notifications when someone goes live, even if you're subscribed to them, which is frustrating. So here we are. But that's my tangent for today. So if you see me or see an announcement later being like, I'm not doing the social platform anymore, that's why. It's because I'm trying to focus on writing, I'm trying to focus on podcasting, and I'm trying to focus on actually putting my time and energy into things that are going to eventually create some coins in my pocket. So there's that. And Aphrodite said that I like doing YouTube, but I also understand that YouTube sucks too. You know what I mean? People's attention span is short as fuck, and it is. It is. Like, sometimes you want long content because you want it all at once, right? But a lot of times, like for me personally, I'm just gonna be shady, and this is who I am. I'm not gonna try to be anything different for you guys, okay? I don't like book talk. I mean, not book talk, booktube a whole lot because people don't actually talk about books. And if they do, it's like 10 channels talking about the same 10 books. And I get kind of exhausted with it. And they're not actually telling me anything about the book. All they're saying is, I love the cover and I picked this up because reason. And this is my like journey and what happened the day I went to go get the book or whatever. But they're not telling me what's good about it, what's bad about it. Or they just say, I didn't like it. Why didn't you like it, ma'am? I would like a reason so that I can make a
Right.
valid, informed decision for myself whether or not I'm going to pick it up or not. And then, or they like shove like 100 books into like a 10-minute video, and it's just kind of like, okay, thank you, but also why? Or they spend 20 minutes talking about one book and they say absolutely nothing. And I'm like, okay, I just wasted 20 minutes of my time listening to you say that this cover is beautiful, looks so great on your shelf. You went to go make a latte. Oh, my camera fell. Ha ha ha, I'm cute. No, ma'am. Tell me what the book was about.
Right. And that's one of the things I wanted to avoid for like my author tube stuff. Because I'm trying to figure out like a different niche. So firstly, I have not really seen any Black author tubers
Yeah, that was a whole
like at
thing.
all.
I could tell you once we get off the chat, but that was a whole thing I can tell you about later.
And so I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna do it for the culture. I'm gonna do author tube. And then I thought, well, I want to give advice, but I don't want to give advice in the same way that like a Jenna Morrissey or Alexa Dunn is like the two more popular people doing it.
Yeah.
Now, like Jenna Morrissey's been doing it for 7 years, so I'm not going to hate on the hustle that she's been building her channel for a while. But I just thought I'm going to do something different, which is why I'm doing like a writer's review, because I love all content, and I think that as writers, at least for me, it's natural to consume content and look at the writing as well as just enjoy it.
And
Like when yeah, like everything I read, I watch, I even podcasts I listen to. If it's like a serialized kind of fiction, I'm like listening and observing for the story too.
And it's funny that you say that because again, one of those things that I was talking about Ben, not about to Ben about. Good lord, I cannot talk. I was talking about how I watch so much content, and he gets tired of me because I literally analyze everything. Like we watched The Harder They Fall on Netflix, and I had to tell him to keep pausing the movie because I was like, I need to process. This is such good writing. This is good storytelling, and I was like, even though I write books, like I'm not trying to be a screenwriter, you know, you could still look at writing and be like, this is good and this is why it is good. And I was thinking about doing that on my TikTok because I have two TikToks. I have one for Written in Melanin, which is my writing stuff, and then I have one for the Melanin Library, which is purely just book stuff, right? And I was thinking about doing that on the Written in Melanin channel, which is breaking it down because I watch a lot of anime and I watch a lot of. We're watching more movies and stuff now, but it's just like it doesn't matter that anime is, you know, originates in Japan. It's still a different type of storytelling, and it's really good. And if I feel like it does things because it does things differently, it adds layers that
Yeah.
make you want to continue watching it because like anime is like such a huge genre, and it's not like this niche little oh you watch anime genre. It's like oh you watch anime, you know,
Right.
and breaking it down because I can honestly say that watching anime has made my storytelling a lot better, and just being able to like break it down I think would be interesting. So I've been thinking about doing that on my TikTok in like little 3 minute bursts or whatever. But all that to say that I agree with you. Like with YouTube, you have to find something that you can offer differently, but also you have to find that sweet spot of between people's attention spans and the algorithm or whatever.
Right.
And it's just kind of like sometimes it's like when I started booktube or authortube or YouTube in general, I was like I was like basically like where you're at. Like I was like I don't see any black folk. Where are the black folk? Would love to know. You know, like we're out here doing the thing too, and I wanted to like give shine and uplift to other authors and creators, which is why I started doing the interviews in the Melanin chat or whatever. But it's just kind of like YouTube does not want you to be great. That's what it feels like at this point. But that is a
Hmm.
different rant for a different day. Um, Aphrodite Lee said that she is not a fan of BookTube either, but I am not a fan of review videos in general. I like reviews on TikTok. I like them because the people that I follow will tell you exactly what they did not like about a book or why you should go buy it, and they're very
Right.
concise because they only have 60 seconds to 3 minutes to do it. And it's just like an example, right? One of the people that I follow was like she did not like Witches Steeped in Gold. And the reason for that being was she's like 70% of the book is world building. And it's just like that's a lot of world building, especially since the book is over 500 pages or whatever. To me, that is a valid critique of the book, right? Not just saying, "Oh, I didn't like it. It moves slow. It took too long." No, it's just a lot of world building, and she's like, "I want the action. This world is great. It's interesting, but I want things to happen." To me, that's a valid critique of the book, and I like TikTok a little bit better because they talk about books by Black authors. They read books by Black authors, and
Mm.
YouTube does not because YouTube rewards you being on a bandwagon with everybody else and talking about the same
Right.
content. TikTok rewards you for being different. So I like it for that reason, personally,
Hmm.
because I've had people telling me, oh, I'm glad I found your content because everybody else is talking about the same three books.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's one thing I've noticed too is a lot of booktubers. It's the same books, and and when you dig deep into TikTok, you can find the TikTokers talking about different books. But for a while there, when I first started liking book talkers, it felt like they were all talking about the same. Verity, Legendborn,
Wings of Ebony,
Wings of Ebony,
what else?
uh,
The Beast of
The
Prey.
Yellow Wife,
Um,
Beast of Prey,
this what is it? The Secret Life of Addie.
Addie LaRue or
Yeah,
whatever.
all the same book.
I'm not. It's
Song of
not
Achilles.
a book. Yeah, not a book I'm checking for. I have a quotient and a handful of white authors that I'm reading this year, and they're legit like this many out of all the books I'm reading. So
I have literally just gotten to a point in my life where I'm like, I will read other people of color if they're not black. I still have not gotten to the point where I'm reading non BIPOC authors.
yeah,
Um,
I only read like I the only person whose books I'm actively like looking forward to is Grady Hendrix, and that's like
mhm.
horror funny, campy horror, and I like it. And it's I would be lying if I said it wasn't influential, but that's the only like white man whose books I'm like, oh, I want to actively read and like seek out your work. Everybody else is BIPOC for me.
And I don't know. I like that about TikTok because I feel like there are more people who actively read diversely. Like not just black authors, but just like actually read diversely and not just I'm going to show you the cover of a book I picked up from the library for this video to seem like I do. But no, like
Right.
I actually bought this book and I'm going to read it and I'm going to tell you about it. And they read indie authors, which is really important to me because I'm just kind of like there are more books out there than just traditionally published authors. And so like when I told people about your book, Amanda, and people were like, "Ooh, I'm gonna go buy it. I'm gonna go read it." I'm like, "Thank you. This book is delightful. Please buy it. Please
They
give her all
yeah,
the coins, okay? Because she
that's
deserves
one of
them."
yeah, that's one of the things. Thank you. That's one of the things I said in my TikTok video last night. Like, we shouldn't just be reading traditionally published black authors. You should be supporting indie black authors, supporting across the diaspora. So going and looking at books by authors from Africa, authors from the Caribbean, like all over. And yeah, I mean, booktube.
I have
I will
followed
be
a lot of
doing some
booktubers.
book reviews, but it will be like the writing and not the story, but like their technique and if it made sense or not. And if you look at anybody in the chat, if you look at my reviews, I I'm pretty honest, I'm very blunt, I'm very ruthless.
Same.
Check out my Charmed review and you will see what I'm talking about.
But I feel like that's what YouTube needs. I feel like it's not rewarded. But Aphrodite Lee has been joining in on this conversation. She said that that apparently there's Jenna who is not white, although she obviously has some white heritage, and she laughed so hard at the white folk, who are being shocked to learn that she is Latina, and that just proves that folk will run to quote unquote white channels and totally ignore people of color ones, and that is accurate. I feel like in a lot of ways. But she loves Jenna, and I think there are a lot of non BIPOC creators who are doing amazing content on YouTube. You
Mm-hmm.
know, please don't take my rant as being like none of them are creating good content. That's not what I mean. I just mean that I want to see more people who look like me, who read books that feature people like me, actually talking about it on this platform. And I have looked and I have not found. And whether that's because YouTube does not want me to or because they are no longer here, I cannot tell you. But that's kind of what I mean. But that's not to shit on anybody's parade.
Right.
And she also said that I noticed that most quote unquote most reviewers are just picking clickbait books to review. Yep. One person says it's good and then all of a sudden it's everywhere. Or I feel like these publishers send out these books to all the same people at the same time.
Right.
And obviously, as a booktuber, if you are getting paid from YouTube, you want to look good. You want to say positive things. You want to build a positive relationship with the publisher. But I mean, you also want to have a good relationship with your audience because you don't want to tell them to go buy a book that's not good because you didn't bother reading it because the publisher paid you to say something nice about it on your channel. You know, but that's just my take on
Mm-hmm.
it. Take it. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I will eventually make my way to TikTok, especially with my book birthday coming up. You should. TikTok is a fun place to be. I was
It
really
is.
hesitant to get on it, but it is such a fun place to be. It is honestly the future, in my opinion. And I am not even the youngest on there. Like, millennials are not even the youngest people on there. Gen Z is. It's their platform, really. So that's also very interesting to not be the youngest person on the social media platform. But that's life, I guess, and you keep going. And I really
Right.
wish we had more promotion for indie folk. I do feel quite left behind at times. Yeah, that's part of the reason why I try to talk about books equally, like on the Melanin Library and Melanin Awareness. Like, even if I have not read it personally, this book is out there. It exists. If you want to read a book about a maid who falls in love with a billionaire and she's black, guess what? There is a book about that somewhere. Okay, somebody has written it. And I feel like more people need to talk about that. But, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Nobody ever seems to want it, but I give it anyway. I'm out at 2 cents. If somebody would just give me 2 cents back, I would be appreciative. But yeah, I kind of went on a rant. I apologize. Y'all know I can run my mouth if you let me.
You're good.
um, that being said, it is like 3:16, and we started this around 1, so it has been like 2 hours. How are you feeling? Because, like I said, I'm gonna be at this computer until I reach my word count goal. So it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm up for one more. I need just over 400 words to get to the daily word count goal, and I'll probably do that, take a writing break, eat, and then write a little bit later.
Okay.
But I'm down for one more sprint just because I want to finally hit the Nano daily writing goal and not feel judged by the
This
Nano site.
the system. I feel that that's literally why I'm going to try to reach mine. But we will see how that goes. That being said, thank you, Aphrodite, for saying that my rants are always welcomed. It makes me feel special. So 20 minutes on the clock. This is our last sprint, so let's make it count. And yeah, let's do this. Happy writing, folks. that sprint is over.
Cool. Hello.
Hmm.
Let me see where.
Let's see.
393.
Awesome. Let's see here. I got 654.
Nice.
Yeah. Apparently, writing arguments is my thing. We're making some progress. Um, it's interesting because I'm kind of at this point where I've been watching Masterclass a lot. And there's this one with Dan Brown, and he writes suspense thriller. He wrote the Da Vinci Code. And
Mm-hmm.
he has been like, it's, let me say this, linear thoughts, right? It's interesting to watch people talk about their genre knowing that I am not, in fact, trying to write a thriller. But the tips and stuff that he's giving are solid advice so that even though I'm not writing a thriller, I can take aspects of what he's saying and imply it because he's talking about increasing the tension, keeping the story going, making sure that the reader feels the pressure of the time that the character feels, and how to like just
Mm-hmm.
keep all that going. And so like I'm trying to keep that in mind. And one of the things that he mentioned in his masterclass was how like obviously this is common advice, but every interaction needs to give you something, right? But also he was talking about how with every thing that you introduce into the story, you basically make a promise to the reader that by the end you're going to know what I know, right? So every little piece of plot, every little bit of character, their backstory, whatever you need to know, whenever you bring it up in the story, you're making a promise to the reader that I'm going to tell you about this, right? And
Okay.
it's been interesting to think about it that way because like as I've been going, I've been keeping like a little sticky note, and I have another page in like OneNote where I'm writing down all the promises, like the things that I'm introducing that I need to give a conclusion to by the end of the book. Like some of it's going to be open ended because I'm not planning for this to be a standalone. I'm planning for it to be a series. But
Mm-hmm.
like one of the things that I'm doing is you get a lot of the backstory of the other characters early on, like how they met Brandy, who is my main character. If you're watching this in the future, I know Amanda, I know you know who she is, but anybody watching this in the future, my main character, her name is Brandy, and you do get a lot of like how the main cast kind of meet her in the beginning, but you don't know much about her. Like the most you know is like her story kicks off somewhere around age 7, and you really don't know how she came to be at the place that she's at, and that's intentional, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
want you to feel like you spend the most time with this character and you know her, but you really don't, right? And I'm getting at this point where her boyfriend, lover, whoever, whatever you want to call him, right, is realizing that he does not know as much about her as he thought he did. And so they're kind of like having this argument or whatever. So it's kind of fun to like kind of deliver on this promise that I kind of introduced in like the first chapter, second chapter, and be like, this is like the piece that you were missing, but also to kind of like introduce other new things because I was outlining today, and like I said in the beginning of the stream, like a couple of things started to become clear. I have gotten a lot of clarity creating this
Mm-hmm.
outline or whatever. And it's just like, oh, well, this is why she's this way because this character is going to do this and this character is going to do that. So, like, she has other people in her backstory who come into the story later on that I knew was going to come into the story. But now I know why they left, if that makes sense, or why they
Yeah.
parted ways, which is really interesting. So that's kind of where I'm at, and all that kind of became clear with this one argument, because he gets to kind of play the reader, and that's something else that Dan Brown talked about in his masterclass is that at some point when you have to have one of the characters play the role of the reader and ask those direct questions that need answering. And it could be a different person each time depending on what they know. But, sometimes you just want to ask, like, what happened? Like, I'm confused. Explain this to me.
That sounds good. I'm gonna have to do. I started N.K. Jemison's masterclass, but I'm gonna have to do Dan Brown's. I was also gonna do Gordon Ramsay's because I want to level up my cooking skills.
I respect it. I have been watching a bunch of different master classes. I've been watching Dan Brown's, which I really really like his. I finished Issa Rae's. I liked hers a lot too. And I have been kind of tiptoeing into. I tried Neil Gaiman's. It wasn't bad, but there was just something about it that I personally didn't click with. Um, and R.L. Stein's I thought was
Mm.
really interesting. I haven't gotten far into it because I know how my brain works. I can only really manage two master classes, and right now I'm making my way through Dan Brown's and N.K. Jemison's. But I don't know. I really like him. I like people who, and this is really weird, but for me, I like people who give very vague instructions about how to do things. So like with Dan Brown, it's not that the instructions are vague. It's just like this is how you do it. And like for example, he's talking about if you need to create suspense, he was like cut down the timeline. He was like if you were going to write the story and the character was going to have a week, make it 2 days. Make it 1 day. They've now got 24 hours. Now your entire timeline just moved up and you've got to figure out how to make it happen in that timeline. And it's just kind of
Right.
like that's not specific to my story. That's just a general tip that I can keep in my back pocket and pull out for later. You know,
Right.
Whereas with N.K. Jemisin, I think her masterclass is amazing, but I have to go at it differently because she's talking about like these are steps to world building. Like you have to like if you're going to do it, you got to do it right, and this is how you do it. From the ground up. And to me, in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a linear. This is not a tip. Like I can just pull it out when I'm ready. No, it's like no, these are instructions. You need to write these down. Make sure you got it. And I realize I'm more receptive to tips that I can pull out when I'm ready versus instructions on how to do this from point A to point Z.
Right.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
that was kind of
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're giving me some good master classes to take a look at because I've been trying to do that and remember that you should always still be learning. I think it's easy to get bogged in the process of doing things and forget that you can always learn and not just learn by reading, but from listening to other people in the game.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's good. I'm gonna add these Issa Rays on there. I forgot she had one, so I just wrote on my little whiteboard over here to
I
check hers
know
out.
I liked hers, but I know there are other people who were like, I feel like hers is kind of like hit and miss depending on the person. Because I know some people who have watched it and they were like, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But I liked it because hers is very much like you you have to do the thing. Like, and one of the things that she said that kind of stuck with me is, and I tweeted it when I listened to it. She was like, "There is no such thing as a bad idea, but there is such a thing as bad execution." And recognizing when you have an idea but you may not be the best person to bring it into existence. And
Right.
I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I would definitely say check hers out, for sure. But yeah, I was gonna tell you someone else who I watched who had a really good one. I can't remember at this moment, but I get what you're saying about like needing to continue learning because that's why I like watching master classes for that reason. I like listening to podcasts for that reason. But I also read the Snowflake Method. That one
Hmm.
because like how everyone goes by like save the cat, right? And not this is no shade towards save the cat at all. It's just I didn't get into it like that because I think I read the one for the screenwriter the original one. I didn't read the Save the Cat Writes a Novel. I read the original one that it's based off of, and it
Right.
it was good. I didn't have any problems with it, but I also read the Snowflake Method, and that one just like clicked for me because of the way that it was written. It's like it gives you the example, and then it shows it to you by the way that the book is written. And I thought that was just really clever, and it stuck with me to the point where it's just like when you were explaining like the act breakdown and stuff, I was like, the after we talked about it and I got a minute and we started writing, it clicked like, oh, the reason this makes sense is because those acts are the same points in the Snowflake method.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I like is when multiple pieces of information line up, because then it sticks with me. I'm like, okay, this is consistent across every piece of advice, so this is probably true. Versus
Right.
this is someone else's specific piece of advice, which may or may not work in every situation. It's got to be tempered against experience before I can say, okay, yes, this is good advice, or okay, nah, probably would skip that next time. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Well, I was telling you about writing the scene where the resurrection doesn't go well. I added that the spell calls for 3 drops of blood from the person who knows the deceased person the most.
Mm-hmm.
Given that her fiance was standing there, she gives the blood. The spell doesn't work. It it resurrects something else, not the person they're looking for, which then hits the my main character Zora, her mentor Birdie. It hits Birdie. Oh, I didn't know her
The best.
the most, the best, and that's just like crushing. And I'm trying to actively hurt my characters so that I can, comfort them later. And that's what I just wrote just now, and I'm almost done finishing. I'm about to write where Zora has to like close the spell and send the thing back, and then Birdie's realization. But this part hurts because it's like,
That
how
hurts.
devastated would you be if you found out that similar to your story, like you don't know the person you love the most as well as you thought you did.
I think yours is a little more harsh because yours is dead. So there's no more learning to be done. There are no
True.
questions to be asked. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be gut wrenching. Like I'm trying to like channel this emotion of like if I found out like Ben had a whole secret life that I didn't know about, how would I react to that? Like it's not going to change the fact that I love him immensely unconditionally up until this point, right? And I still do, but like yo, I am livid. What the hell? And like my biggest question is going to be like, why didn't you tell me? What like what? And so now I'm like trying to come up with a valid reason for my character not telling him. Like if they're this close and she loves him and she sees him as like one of those people that she can be herself with because she is this person where she's aware of the effect that, you know, she has on other people or whatever. She doesn't want him to be like everyone else, where he sees her
Mm-hmm.
a certain type of way and yada yada yada. But I was like, but there has to be a reason why she never told him. There has to be a valid reason that was beyond her control. And it has to be something that's so simple but also pisses him off because I like I said,
Right.
I did my outline and I know that while they don't break up, the main romantic conflict is not between them. They do have some conflict because of how the gods are acting. So again, if you're listening
Mm-hmm.
to this and you don't know anything about my story, basically my one sentence summary that I've pretty much decided on is you have my main character, she's an assassin, and basically you have an assassin who is trying to save the gods from destruction. That is basically the book.
That is good. Look at you. You kind of helped me with my one sentence pitch. That is good.
Thank you, thank you. I, you know, it's wild, Amanda. I was watching The Harder They Fall, and it just clicked in my mind. I was like, you should be able to explain the plot of any story in one sentence, and it shouldn't be complicated. Like The Harder They Fall is about two rival gangs trying to kill each other because one killed his the other's parents. That's the whole plot of the movie, right? There's a lot in between. It's amazing. It's stellar. It's it's high tier. I'm not gonna say it's god tier, but it's high level stuff, high level entertainment. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
I'm
that's what it
saving it.
is.
Yeah, I'm saving it to watch with my mom. She's like not tech savvy, so she keeps asking, "Can you hook up to Netflix when you come over so we can watch it?" So I'm like trying to be a good daughter and watch it with her. because
Yeah.
she won't watch it otherwise.
It's good stuff. And I didn't spoil anything. Like, that's just, you can determine that from the trailer. Um,
Right.
but it's so good. And then I thought about like these back of the blurbs in any book really that you think about. You can really put it, if you can put it in one sentence, it's like a solid plot. The books that usually are kind of iffy are when you're like, you don't know what's going on, because like I always go back to Harry Potter because that's the book that I grew up with, right? But it's like at the end of the day, Harry Potter is literally a boy who didn't know he was magical gets sent to a magical school where he finds out he's the chosen one and has to save everybody. That's the plot of all 7 books.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know? So that was just
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think for my series, it's Mercury's kind of a chosen one, but not really. Eh.
I wouldn't say
But
he's the
it,
chosen one.
I no, because he already had the magic. So never mind, he's not a chosen one. But it's basically a young witch to figure out how to save his friends and also his people, being witches, in the wake of a vampire presidency and rising tension between witches and vampires. Oh, I did it.
Yeah.
It's a long sentence. She run on. It's a sentence.
I would say if I had to do it, right, I would be like, it is about a young witch who gets pulled into the politics of the witch world once he realizes that everything is not as simple as it seems. That's what I would go with, because it's just like the whole thing is him. It starts out with it being like distant from him, like he can't do anything about the laws, he can't do anything about what's happening. But as he goes makes that as that he makes that road trip to Astera, from California to Astera, it's like the reality of his world starts to sink into him for him, and then he realizes that his father has power, his aunt has power. He does not have political power,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of travels over into the second book when he's starting to make those, okay, well, let me build this platform for me to have this political power that's not necessarily directly attached to the people I already know, you know? That's what I would
Right.
say. I think you did a really good job with that, by the way. I will give you sing your praises for that all the time, because whenever I think about it, I'm like, you really created a parallel world with things that just hit, that make you feel invested without making you feel overwhelmed about life. And it's so good. It's so good. I appreciate you for writing it. And
Thank you.
I need conclusions to what's going on with Mercury and his powers in the third book. Because you kind of
Yeah,
glanced over it. You mentioned it in the first book, and I was like, okay, are we going to get it in the second book? And then you kind of added to it, but we didn't talk about it. I need us to talk about it. Okay?
yeah, that's one of the promises early on in the third book. I'm like actively also working on the outline for the third book, in addition to all the other stuff. So that's one of the things that I'm gonna solidify in the third book. Um, Mercury's gonna, you'll see.
Okay. And also, I don't think I said this to your face, but I love what you did with Mercury and, is it Jolene? Joelle.
Joelle,
I don't know why I had Jolene in my head, but
because
Joelle.
it's a bop.
I love how what you did with them in the book, and it really brings both books together full circle, and it was amazing, and I just appreciate it so so much. It was expertly done, ma'am. Kudos to you. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. But yeah, I think this is gonna be it pretty much for the stream. Like I said, I have about 1,200 words. I need to hit 3,800 before I call it a day. It's like 4 o'clock here. Ben gets off at 5:30, so I will probably keep writing till then, trying to be productive. Hopefully, I can meet my goal by that point. And I'm going to try to be like you and be on top of things, because I'm like, I need to start on the outline for book 2, which I think, did I tell you the title of book 2 already?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, I have a whole series planned, and all the titles are related. So I'll tell you once we get off the stream, because I'm not ready to make that public just yet. But
Ooh, I get the exclusive tea. I'm here for it. Yes, give it to me.
So I'm gonna do that, but I want to start getting the outline together because I've realized that I need an outline, something to like guide me along the way. So I'm trying to be like you and the case and the rest of y'all plotters who are like, I need an outline, and I'm like, damn, I do too. So that's where I'm at. But yeah.
Awesome.
But if you are watching the stream and you have made it, we have been on here for like 3 hours. So if you have made it, you are the GOAT. We appreciate you. Thank you. I don't know if we're gonna do this again. This was fun, so maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I'd be down.
yeah. But if you have made it this far, drop a brown heart in the comments to let us know that you loved it, or you can actually say something that's cool too. Talk to us. Make sure you subscribe to Amanda. Make sure you subscribe to Written in Melanin. If you missed it, the announcement before, Melanin Chat is coming back January 11th, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and Audra will be here talking about all things related to books, writing, and publishing gossip. You're not going to want to miss that. If you want to support Black authors, Melanin Library, Written in Melanin, you can do that through the Patreon, or you can just do a one-time donation. There are links to both of those in the description box below. That is it. That's the whole spiel. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, hope your days are lovely and your books are interesting. Bye.